So, we go again. Number 39 of the Darkness Light Godcast. Welcome back, those who are joining me again. It's been interesting to see how this one goes. I'm just back from a few days away, celebrating my wee daughter's 21st birthday, which was just great. I had a few days with the family, a wee bit of downtime, away for the vortex, away for the phone, away from the socials, away for everybody really, just time together, the four of us. And then my wife's parents come up yesterday to celebrate her birthday with her two brothers. Just some real kind of nice family time and a real kind of opportunity to get some space for myself and switch off and much contemplation. There's a lot going on there now. It has been the last few weeks. There's been massive expansion on many different fronts, which has been really interesting and really exciting. Very profound in a lot of areas, a lot of stuff that's coming through on my own journey. Many lessons as always, still finding myself working this stuff out, this intentional way of living, this way out, which is incredible as well. I'm thinking after 39 Godcasts and driving back down the road today, I've been up since about 3 this morning, been called out of bed the last few nights, the meditations up there in that silence, up in Perthshire in Scotland, up in the just not that far from the Glen Eagles Resort, a place I didn't know existed until my wife found it last week. Cracking wee bit, just heading towards the hills and in that space, in that silence, and just where there's nothing happening, during the night, it's just absolute silence, and you realise how noisy it is in the Central Belt. And the kind of the meditations that I had and the realisations. And which is happening all the time just now. The more I'm putting into myself, the deeper I'm getting into this work. Which is really fascinating after all these years that you're still progressing and you're still making you're making moves forward with that desire to get to the place that I'm now realising has always been there, and it's always been my desire and my goal. A place that I would call freedom. That bit where the ability to not just do what you want and be with whom you want and live your life in the way you would like to be, but the real freedom of the entire human experience, being in full alignment with the divine, and in that enlightened state of bliss, and being happy and joyful and present, and at the same time still being a human being at the same time. That's freedom to me, and that's the goal. 100%, that's absolutely the goal. It always has been, and it was a great reminder over the last few days as to what I'm trying to get to, and that feeling of freedom is something that I am absolutely I'm chasing it again, and I'm loving it because I'm getting real glimpses of it and the direct experience of it many times. So many hours of meditation. I did about 4 hours during the night last night, between probably back at 3 and just after 7. Where it wasn't as good as it's been the previous couple of nights. Last night I was yanked out of bed and I thought, here we go, it's coming, I'm going to get it tonight, and it didn't come. The 2 nights previous, where it was probably 4:30, 5 of us up. And again, because of my daughter's birthday, my wife had taken loads of photographs, and it's amazing seeing her for being a baby, a newborn, and she's in your arms, and first birthday parties, and it was old photographs then as well, which are great. So compared to, I must have 30,000-40,000 digital photographs, but we never seem to get them printed off, and something I need to absolutely look at doing. I've got them all stored and all saved in different hard drives, but there was something about the old photographs, and we had loads of them, especially when she was a wee girl. And great time to contemplate. There was a few tears as well, looking back, and loads of stuff you can remember. Some of the stuff you can't, which is really interesting. Some of the significant events and the things that we did together as a family. And that's one of the birthdays, being 21, when you get a chance to really take stock and see where you're at, see where she's at, which is just goodness, just awesome, just pure light, an absolute gift to the world. She really is, and we have been blessed with her, no question whatsoever. For the day she was born, she wakes up whistling. I've said that on here before. She wakes up smiling and whistling, and she's just one of the beams of light that the world needs more of. So to be with her for a few days and be doing about her, it was great. And looking back over the journey, and then where we're at just now, and then where we're going, there's a lot of kind of expansion taking place just now for us as a family on many fronts, which I'll be sharing in due course over the course of this year, I would imagine, as things start to unfold. And for me, over the last few weeks, Spoke about the dis-ease that's in my body and the responsibility that I've taken, which has been great. I actually let my guard down a wee bit. I had a wee bit of processed food. I had to. It was her birthday, and over the last couple of days, it was nice just to let the hair down a wee bit, and things like a wee bit of beautiful, nicest birthday cake I've ever had, which was great. And obviously with a takeaway from a lovely Italian one, which was lovely as well. So there was bits of processed food that I hadn't had for the previous week leading up to it. And interesting watching my diet and the impact that the diet has had specifically on my spiritual experiences and the progress I've been making, which has been leaps and bounds, over the last wee bit. Really since I come back January time when I started to go, without really knowing what I was doing, the realisation I was going full God, to the point where over the last wee bit I've absolutely went full God. It's been all in, on every front. I've done everything, and diet is a huge thing, and it's something within the programme that after the 1 Day to Change Your Life on the 1st of March, then we're going to be doing a group cleanse with the medical medium, his information, and that's something I've done many times in the past. And there's something about when you clean your diet up, when you're in about this work, and you really kind of start to, it's almost like, are you serious about it? It was interesting, my meditation this morning, because I had a wee bit of processed, I suppose you would term it as rubbish yesterday, the cake and all that kind of stuff. The difference I could feel this morning, because my body's so clean just now, the way I've been eating and looking after myself, and as well as everything else that I'm doing on every front. Amazing this morning how it just wasn't the same as the previous 2 mornings, and whether it's just me, no the guilt, there's no guilt when you have that kind of stuff, it comes and goes, but I could really feel a difference within my system and my ability to tap into the spiritual, through meditation, the spiritual experience I've been getting leading up to this morning. So very interesting, the impact the diet had, and driving back down today, I'm thinking about, I'm going to do this because what I'm going to talk about today, number 39, is called 1 Day. Which is going to be focused on the event on March the 1st, 1 Day to Change Your Life. I've been thinking a lot about that title and the name for it, 1 Day to Change Your Life, and how everything that I do comes through meditation. Every single event, most of the poems, between meditation and contemplation obviously, but it's amazing how they unfold through me. And 1 Day to Change Your Life came through, what was that, this time last year, probably November, December time, where the desire was to give people the opportunity to get on about this work, and get a real kind of proper look at what it is I'm actually doing. I understand that when people come find it for the first time, they come to one of the events, or whether it's a Friday night in, whatever it is, then a lot of the language that I use and the experience itself, it's very different from anything else that's going about just now. There's nothing else like it that I can see, and it's very interesting watching when people go through it, and then they go away, and then there was never anything else up until the programme came out last January, end of January, and there was nothing really else. People would just come back whether it was every 3 weeks or every 3 months or once a year, whatever it was, they would come back and go through a similar experience, and that's the kind of the way that it was until the programme came about, and the 1 Day to Change Your Life, basically, that the intention with that, one, it was to basically showcase and present everything that I'm doing, or certainly get an idea so you could see behind the scenes, because when people leave here, life-changing experiences, absolutely. When I say I see miracles every single day, that's no exaggeration, that's a fact. Whenever anybody goes on about this work, miracles can take place, there's no question about it. When we're taking people out of their head and reconnecting them back into the heart, switching off the stress, and being able to get back into your feelings, your emotions, and back into your soul, back into you, the real you, that's a miracle, and the impact that can have on every single area of people's lives. I've seen it thousands and thousands of times now. It's fascinating to watch, but after that would happen, there was nothing really after that unless to come back again. And for me, I had all, the entire system, the programme as I call it. But for people coming in, they had no idea what was going on. There's so many different ways that I'm looking to, present it and give people the experience of it, between the language that I use and between the modalities that I use, the tools, the techniques that I use. There's so many different bits to it, and it's different every single time. It definitely comes through me. I've learned the language and I've learned the information. I've been blessed with some of the best teachers in the world, there's no question about it. But the way that it comes through, it's fascinating for me to watch and hear how it unfolds, depending on what's in the room, whether it's one person or whether it's 1,000 people. It's always fascinating. So the 1 Day to Change Your Life, even the title of that, the way that it came down, and I'm thinking earlier on, like, who am I? It's a huge statement. One day to change your life is a really huge statement, but if you come and go through it, what you'll experience is a literal fact, because driving down today, I'm thinking the intention is to uplift people. That's the whole thing with this work. My intention is to help people, to give them an opportunity and possibilities with this system that I've worked out for myself, to enable them to then, take it or leave it, but at least get the experience of it. And that's very difficult when people don't know what it is. I'm talking about stuff that's alien to probably 99% of the planet just now. Especially when you start to go up to talk about the spiritual stuff, and you talk about God, and you talk about meditation, and people have no idea, and they absolutely put you in a box and they label you straight away. So I'm always trying to work out, how I can find new ways and easier ways to build the bridges. I see myself as a bridge builder. One of my teachers said that to me a long time ago. You build bridges for people, you enable them to get what you've got, and like fight like kind of bite-sized chunks. And through the experience, you can't get it with words. I can talk about this all day, but you need to kind of get the experience of it. And then once they get the experience of it, then at that point, they'll have choices to make as to, how they take it into their life, or whether they're going to use it in their life. That's what it's all about. And that's only my intention. I grew up in building sites. I'm just a normal guy. And anybody that knows my story, let's listen to my story. I've been through quite a lot of stuff in my life, a lot of good and a lot of kind of bad stuff as well. Blessed to be even sitting here, looking back over the last 20 years of this journey, 28 years of this journey, where I probably, very, very, maybe even lucky to make it through it, possibly spared, who knows, but the things that I've learned, as a layman, as a guy who had no real formal education. I used to go to school to see my wife and play football. That was it, so for me now, talking about this stuff and the time that it's taken me to work it out and put it together and learn the language, I'm constantly trying to work out ways so that I can give it to anybody. It's universal, it's for anybody. And that's really my work just now, is to find new and easier and more, I suppose, palatable ways that people can go on about it. And again, be drawn in because of whether it's people's testimonials and the word of mouth, which are always the best way. I find, somebody that's been and came through it and they talk about it and they tell whether it's their partner or their pals or whatever it is, or they send somebody. That's normally a great way, because if you hear in the people that are running about this, they're all normal people. Almost all of them are Scottish, obviously, Central Belt. And you hear them talking about, in our native tongue, and you hear them speaking and swearing a lot of the times, as to what this work has done for them. Then that's what I find the best way for people to get on about it. Up to this point, it has been. And I'm always on the lookout and trying to work out, what else can I do? How else can I basically make this, so general and easy that anybody can get on about it? And, if they do get on about it, depending on what they need, depending on what's required, then once they actually experience what it does for them, then what you'll find is, it's like the one day to change your life. It's really the desire to uplift, at least give you the possibility to uplift your life. That's what it's all about, is to really uplift your life and get to that place where, you get to the place where you start to fulfill your potential. That's what it's all about. It's very, very simple, and but it's no easy, unfortunately. If it was easy, I suppose I would have had it by now. I would be where I want to be with it by now. But at the same time, the journey itself, the whole way that it's unfolding, and the way that the pieces are coming together, because it's so vast and there's so much information and so many different bits to it, it's such a vast, the programme itself is so vast and so many different areas to it. And the first part is really to come in and learn the language. That's what it's all about. That's what it's the thing about. That's what one day to change your life is to come in, learn the different bits to it. You've maybe been to, whether it's a one-on-one, whether it's a Friday night in, whether it's one of the big breathing beliefs. I've been to the Scottish tour, and you left there, and you left, as I say, you leave with a cape on. You maybe left with a cape on, and then you were flying for literally some people for maybe the rest of that day, or some people for the week, or some people for months after it. Where they basically switch off their stress and they learn how to sleep properly, and they learn how to manage their nervous system and manage their thinking and their thoughts, and the tools that we're teaching in terms of awareness as to the realisation of what you're doing to yourself most of the time. That wave can carry you for months. Some people can carry them 3, 6, 9 months, absolutely. But then at some point we always find is that people come off and they fall away from it. And that's because they don't really know what's going on. And the one day to change your life is really about making that a whole conscious process. It's really seen behind the scenes. It's a kind of playbook to the entire programme, and taking people through, by explaining them what it is I'm actually doing. Because a lot of it for me at the time was unconscious. I was just doing stuff and I was learning from different teachers. But when I actually sit down and write the programme, at least design the programme, so that I could teach it, I think, right, what is it that I actually do and how simple can I make it? Because for many years since the Vortex opened, the Friday nights, and I would try to give people everything inside 3 hours. And I can remember some people that looked as if they'd been fired out of a cannon, and it's because there was so much information and a lot of inspiration as well. There's a lot of stuff in there, so the one day to change your life, I've got more time, between 10 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's a real chance to come in and give yourself the opportunity to see if it's for you. That's really the best way I could put it, to come in, spend the day with me, with the team, and really see what it is that we're talking about, and how it goes together and the impact that it can make on you, no matter what it is. If you're struggling on the bones of your arse, if you're suicidal, if you're at that place where nobody wants to be, the anxieties, the depressions, the PTSDs, the traumas, the world's on your shoulders, you've had enough, absolutely suicidal. A lot of people that come in going about this work, that real heaviness where life isn't worth living anymore. From that all the way up to people that are absolutely flying, or perceived to be flying, they possibly think they've got it all. And then when I start to talk about success and what real success is, whereas everything, having the whole package, not just the money and the toys and the stuff, but having everything, that's what real success is. And what we see is that, no matter what it is, from the kind of lowest levels of despair and desperation and hopelessness, all the way up to people that are absolutely they're there but they're looking to get more and create more. Then the one day to change your life, or the one day to uplift your life, as I'm now feeling that it's almost gone that way. It's uplifting everything that it touches, so that's the desire. But that one day, when you come in and learn how it goes together, when you leave, then I defy anybody, to go away without every single area or every single spoke to the wheel of your life, as I call it, which is one of the processes that I share, to be better. So every single thing in your life is going to be better when you get through that day. Guaranteed, there's no question about it. We've seen it too many times now where people come in, and the wheel of your life's a great thing, because what I basically do is, and there's loads of wheels apparently everybody's got a wheel of your life now. I don't really follow anybody. I haven't done for a long time, and I tuned into Tony Robbins a couple of weeks ago. I knew in fact, one of my students actually sent me a picture of Tony Robbins' wheel, and I thought, all right, Robbins has got a wheel of your life. How long he's had that, I don't know. I trained with Robbins in 1998 for the first time. The last time I trained was 2012. I saw him a couple of times in the beginning, loved it. The first time was life-changing, absolutely. I've spoken about it on here many times, like experiencing gratitude for the first time, and it changed my life, Tony Robbins. But very quickly, from personal development and all the things that he's selling, that ultimate success formula, and like motivation and firing your goals and doing it until all that kind of stuff, very quickly I get bored with that. It wasn't for me. I'm not interested in that type of success. And it was interesting watching a wee snippet of that last, the event he did, the 3-day event, where nothing much is really, I suppose there has been loads of evolution. I never spent the 3 days with him, but the tone and the way that he's teaching and changing your state, it felt very much the same as the last time I saw him in 2012. And it's still very much towards self-mastery, but I would call that mastery of the lower self. The ego self, where the stuff of this world, being a success, getting the money, getting the things, being able to manage yourself to navigate your way through the reality. That's the lower self. That's very much where I still see him to be. And this is very different. This is that, absolutely, but it's more about the higher self. And then both of them, how you can, the realisation of the true self and how you master that. That's self-mastery to me, which is enlightenment. Enlightenment meaning the direct experience of the divinity that's inside every single one of us. That's really where all this work is going. And as a byproduct of getting that, being in the flow state, being in spirit, being inspired, then every single area, all the different spokes to the wheel of your life are going to get better, just by doing one thing. So it becomes very, very simple once you once you understand it, and then once you get on about it, and then once you start to, go through the process, and then really importantly, you start to apply it to your life. It's very, very easy. That's the thing, the one day to change your life. I do it for you. When you come in, basically going to take you through the whole thing. We're going to explain, how it goes together, how the intentional life works, the power of awareness, the power of intention, and the power of alignment. That's what it's all about. The wheel of your life, which I mentioned, how there's only really one thing that you need to do to basically get it for yourself every single day. And that process, as many times I've done it now, and the way that I've been able to document it and the way that I've taught it to thousands of people now, it's very, very easy for anybody coming in to get it on that first day, because it's a reconnection process. It's really getting out of your head and reconnecting back into your heart, back into your soul, and back into yourself. That's what it's all about. And that's dead easy for me because I know how it goes together, because of the power of the breath and all the training I've done with breath work. And interesting over the last wee bit, watching, there was a book that appeared again, Abraham Hicks, Getting Into the Vortex. We're doing it with my dad's last week. And my wife went to look at photographs. Now that I'm thinking back, probably so she could get some photographs, maybe my mum and my daughter for her birthday. And she came back through with this book. There were no photographs, but came back through with this book that I would have swore was sitting behind me. And really interesting to watch, reading through it and watch what Abraham is talking about through Esther Hicks, obviously, but talking about the power of the breath and what happens when you create the space within the breath. I've seen a few things online with Joe Dispenza talking about the power of the breath as well. And that's something I've known for years now, since I really started teaching it. I call it the intentional breath. You learn the modalities as to how it goes together. You learn the tools, the techniques of how the breath works, the chemistry of the breath and why you should be breathing in a certain way. But once you get beyond that, then, the intentional breath is to get you, away from all of that, and then to create the space back inside you, to get back into your heart and to get back into your soul. And that's something that's done for you on that first day, that one day to change your life. Functional breathing is a huge part of it. Once you learn how it goes together, once you have the education process and understand, what the actual program is within the vortex, then it's all about the experience, and the experience. You need to experience it. To experience is to understand, and you can't buy experience. You need to basically go through it, and that's the bit that changes people's lives, and that's where the intentional journey that I take people on. By learning how to breathe with function, learning how to switch off your stress or turn it on. A lot of people need a wee bit of stress, but most people don't. Most people need to be able to switch it off. Most people need to learn how to sleep properly. You talk about basic awarenesses as to how people are sleeping and why we need to be sleeping properly so the body can heal primarily. But there's so much going on and so many different things you can do to improve the quality of your life just by how you go to bed at night time. I teach my students the best day ever starts the night before. What you take to bed, how you feel when you go to bed, how you sleep during the night, how you wake up. The minute you wake up in that morning time, as I felt this morning, 3:15, I've been sleeping for probably 10:30, so I'd maybe 3-4 hours like proper sleep, but just called in spirit, woken up. It felt like by the divine to go and sit, and I get so much of a download, so much information this morning, things that I'm still processing just now that was on the back of the last 2 or 3 days up there, where yesterday I was so close to being in that space that I would call enlightened again. I haven't had it for a long time, but the door was almost blown off the hinges, and it was almost revealed to me by not trying to get there and by surrendering and letting go. As always, the minute you try to get it, as I probably did this morning, then you don't get to see it. That's the ego, because at the same time I was thinking about getting it, I was like, it'd be great to be able to talk about it again. It's been years and years since I've experienced it, and straight away there was no way I was getting there very quickly. So I had 4 hours of contemplation and loads of meditation in between it, and loads of realizations about my own journey. But the desire to get up and be called and get into it and sit in that silent place, so wonderful and nourishing in so many different ways that, as I'm experiencing just now, all I'm really doing is tending to myself. I'm being selfish and I'm looking after myself every single day in ways that I can't even explain. I'm including myself in terms of within that field of vibration. I'm remembering the power that's inside of me, the goodness, the divine light that's inside of me. And that's really, the whole thing about the one day to change your life. It's a reconnection process. So I'm learning how to do it myself in different ways. I'm learning how to teach it myself every single day just now, so I can pass it on. I'm trying to make it simpler and easier every single time, so that it becomes more natural, and I'm finding different language so that anybody can get it. It's available to everybody because it's in every single one of us. But for me, as the way of teaching it and the way of giving people that experience, I'm always trying to work that out. So the reconnection process that takes place, That's really the whole crux of the day. That's what the day is all about. It's nothing to learn, I always say. It's all about remembering the power that's inside of you. And again, the bridge, the breath, being the intentional breath and functional breathing, that's a huge bridge back inside yourself. If you're in your head, if you're struggling with stress, if you're struggling with anxiety, overthinking, if you're like intrusive thoughts, or you're spending your life thinking about the wrong stuff, you just need to look at, Joe Dispenza is the one I would go to for that kind of stuff. The impact, the negative impact that can make on you, all the different systems of the body. How the body closes down. I was watching some scientific stuff the other day with the impact on the thymus, and how the effect on the heart. Whether you're in bliss, whether you're feeling happy and joyful and freedom and ease, or whether you're in fear and separation and anxiety. And how you're literally, you're upregulating that gene expression. You're upregulating the information that's been expressed through your genes that's recreating your body every single moment of your life. So the awareness to see what you're actually doing to yourself is a huge part of it, and then the desire to make it better, so that power of awareness and the power of intention are absolutely huge in so many different ways, but it's all based on experience. It's all about the reconnection back to the experience and really getting the experience, so through feeling it and through living it and through actually getting it for yourself what it is I'm actually talking about, and that's why to come and see it, to come and get on about it is so important in so many different ways. You can't get it listening to this, even coming to a Friday night, and you'll get a bit of it, but if you're really after it, you really want to take it back, you really want to reclaim your power and take back that power and be in alignment with that power and know how to get back to that place every single day, and the reasons and the why as to why you should be doing that. That's the most important part. People have no idea. They don't know what it feels like just to feel good. That's one of the reasons I'm so excited about this cleanse we're about to do through the program members, because people don't know what it feels like to feel good. Most of the time it's chronic stress within the heat, chronic inflammation, overthinking, worries, fears, anxieties. That's just a normal way of living for most people. Excuse me. And that's why I find it difficult. I think a lot of the time people don't know what I'm talking about, so if they don't know what you're talking about and you're trying to sell them something for their good, to try and gift them it, almost not sell them but gift them it. I think the value that this one day to change your life, it's 99 quid for the ticket, and it's the value that's in that in terms of the level of information and experience and a playbook and the ability to leave, and take back control as to the way you're meant to feel and the way you're meant to live, or how you're able to live, which would be, to fulfil your potential. Then at that point, then it's like, where is everybody? Why they know? Why isn't more people not going about this? And that's just because they don't know. Most people are lost in ignorance. Most people are lost in stress. They're in worry. They're in fear. They're in the anxiety. I almost laugh when I hear people talking about, is it worth 99 quid for the day? And I'm thinking, I could name a dozen of these like self-help, self-made gurus that have popped up over the last probably 4 or 5 years, and some of the prices that people are charging for courses are just pure shite. Some of the phrases and you just need to look at the actual, the stuff that they're talking about, and you realise, certainly I can realise, that it's basically snake oil and nothing's going to get better from it. And this is really holistic. This whole program, all the practices, once you learn them, they're free. You're talking about breath work, you're talking about relaxation, you're talking about meditation. Cold exposure is a great one. It is optional on the day, but it's something that everybody should absolutely know how it goes together. So once you just get that, and even if you get that and nothing else, as I always say, it's like your life is going to be your greatest teacher. So when you leave, when you're blessed with this new awareness as to how things go together, when you have the awareness to see what you're doing to yourself and then what other people are trying to do to you, and then you have, the second pillar, the 3 pillars as I call them. Once you get the second pillar, the power of intention, the desire to make it better, and the realisation that, when you can start to make different choices, when you can start to do things in a different way, that are going to be based on making you feeling better at all times. That's all it's about. It's about feeling good. It's about well-being, it's about being in alignment, it's about being happy and joyful. That's what the whole thing's about. And the holistic tools and techniques and practices that we use to get people there, what you'll find is that once you go through it, life and the opportunities or the challenges or the contrast or the pain or the suffering that come towards you, when you've got this system, when you have got this ability to navigate your way through life, the whole world changes. And then what you realise very quickly is that life, I used to believe that life was happening to me. That's where I was when this started for me. My life was terrible. It couldn't get any worse if I'd have tried, and the more I worried about it and the more, kind of anxiety and stress and, just fear of everything at one point, just real hopelessness is where I started. Life was absolutely happening to me. The worse it was getting, the worse it was getting. It was never ending. And it just seemed to be compounding every single day, especially with the medication and the doctors and the therapists. Basically, want to talk about how bad it was or why you were messed up or what happened to you. So life in that place, which is where most people start, and a lot of people that find us are in that place, absolutely. But we need to get for that place to realisation, which is the truth, that life actually comes from you. It doesn't happen to you, it comes from you. And that happens in one day. When you basically get the opportunity to get it up, to get it out and to let it go, you get to live in a different way. And then simply by doing one or two things every single day, a few simple disciplines every single day. That was Jim Rohn, one of my first teachers. Business philosophy, but feeds into everything. A few simple devotional disciplines I would add in that bit of devotion. When you start to tend to yourself and you start to look after yourself and you start to choose to feel good, and through my own experience recently, the way I've been looking after myself, the way I've been tending to myself, the way that I've been loving myself, I've never done that before. I have never done that before. I have never looked for it. I never needed it. I had a great conversation with my wife. We've been together since I was 20 years old, just before I turned 21. So I'm 53 now. So 33 years just about. We've been together, and it's really interesting. As much as she loves me, and I absolutely love her with all my heart, as does she me, my best pal. Just everything. She's everything to me. But I've never ever looked for the love, absolutely. But I think I've been so self-assured most of my life. Maybe goes back to the Fitbit and all that kind of stuff, and the martial arts, and for whatever reason, I've never really looked for it external to me. And the realisation over the last few days is like a lot of the times I don't let it in, probably because I don't really need it, or I haven't needed it up to this point. And yesterday morning, in particular, I was sitting in deep meditation, one of the best meditations I've had in the last probably 10-15 years. And I was really starting to, as I have been the last couple of weeks, really starting to include myself, really starting to tend to myself, and the way that I'm now learning about God in the field and the way, and what that even is, it's certainly my interpretation of it. And the way that it feels, the way that divine presence feels when you're sitting in meditation, I'm able to tap into it. I have been for probably the last, 15, 20 years. My meditation, instantly I can go in there and I'm in that space. I'm not thinking, I'm feeling, I'm in my heart, but now over the last couple of weeks, the presence of the field and the vastness of the field and the energy and the love and the light and the grace and the goodness and the divinity that's within that field. And obviously I am part of that, as are you, we all are. But the ability to really be present and feel the essence of that, and how much it feels like love is really something that when you, as I've been talking about devoting, devotional love for God, the divinity, the divine, all that's divine, the way that the whole thing, like how much I love that, the truth and, the solutions and the answer, the way it's meant to be, that's the way for me. It's a whole thing, it's an entire thing of how it's meant to be. The love that I've got for that, and the knowledge that I came through it, and when I die in this life experience, that I get back to it, and how death becomes an illusion, and how, the way that it's been sold to us in so many different ways is just, again, designed to trip you up. But sitting in meditation yesterday, I was thinking about the conversation with my wife and how, I've never looked for love from anybody else. I really haven't. Even my parents, I would imagine, way back. And they were a different generation, and they gave you in a different way. It was tough love, but always there for you. My dad, I know at 81, I could pick the phone up, my dad would give me his last, it's a different way of expressing it and showing it. But for me, love is a frequency, it's a field, it's that bridge to the divine. When I come back from that very first enlightened experience, God is love. I get to understand now how when I became that essence, that field, how it felt like love. But I've never ever really looked for that from anybody else, certainly not from any human beings, ever. And yesterday morning, sitting in meditation, I went through the list. Excuse me a wee second, I'm going to have to go for the honey again. Got a wee creak in my throat. I went through the list of those, and I get told very often, I love you. I do. It happens on a daily basis from most of my students I'm in a circle, as I do to them as well. I send them love, and I really love them. the way that I love the field, the way that I love the divine, the way that I love the way, and the way that I've been, like feeling what that is, being in that presence of that unconditional love, just being immersed in that feeling. When I hug somebody, I tap into my heart and I'm sending them that love. I'm literally bathing them. It's like a silent prayer. I'm sending them love. I'm loving them. I'm literally loving them. And I'll often send, especially the apprentices in the inner circle and those that I'm close to, the ones that I really love, that I'll send them messages when there's to and fro going back, and I'll often say, I love you, I really, and that's, I mean that. It's not just I love you. It's not like that kind of offhandish where there's nothing in it. It's a real heartfelt. I'm feeling love within myself. The way that I love my Waynes and my Doug, who's behind the camera, the way that I love my wife, that feeling, that essence of love, I'm sending it to you. I love you, and I get that back often as well, very often. And yesterday morning, sitting in meditation, I went down the line and I was thinking of everybody that's in my life that literally loves me because of the work that I've done with them, the way that the work has helped them, but probably because as well, if you were to ask them, but because of they know me and they know my intentions and who I am as a human being, so they've got genuine love for me as well. But the awareness and the realisation that I've probably not been allowing it in, even for my wife. In some ways, sounds madness, and I know she loves me, but when you really feel it and you accept it in and allow it in, yesterday morning, I must have spent an hour early yesterday morning, and tapping into people when you're used to being in meditation, as we are now in groups very often, certainly every week. With the boys club, it's every Monday night. Murphy's just making a move behind the camera. Then when you're in that space with each other, in that divine presence, in the meditation with each other, sitting in silence. Even just a month ago, one of the lads, he's a hard laddie, he works in the building sites, and I'm sitting in meditation just in bliss, and I'm feeling how much I love him because of the work that he's done and who he is, and he's just pure light. And he came to and he gave me the heart symbol straight away, and I was like, I love you, brother. And he says, I was just sitting thinking that I love you as well. Now for him to say that as somebody who works in building sites, but it was genuine, it was real, and it wasn't a fucking pussy love. It was a real, that feeling, that essence of, how much you love your Waynes. I'm including you in that. That's what love is to us. That's what love is to me. And yesterday morning, I got to go around everybody and I could feel them just send it, and it brought me to tears, man. I couldn't stop crying. Tears of love. Just overwhelming tears of love. And the healing that is taking place within my body. Getting it from them, allowing it in from them because I know they're sending it to me. The messages, even when I was away on holiday, even yesterday morning, I was sending love hearts out, and it sounds mental, this, I get that, I know. But the intention behind it, it's all about the intention, is sending that frequency of love. And I can't tell you what it's doing for me now, because as well as taking it from them, the feeling I'm able to create when I'm sending it out and the devotion I've got for the divine, I'm also including myself within it. So I'm loving myself. Compassion for myself and my own journey, because I need it, of course I do, especially just now, the stuff that I'm going through, I'm needing a wee bit of love, but when you understand what love is, and you understand the frequency of it, and you understand it and you feel the benefits that it's doing, any other way of living is absolute insanity to me. I don't care what anybody says, they can call me what they fucking want, it doesn't matter. Real love, Joe Dispenza says, real love heals all. Absolutely. Years and years and years ago I heard him say, I thought it's absolutely true, because I knew what he was talking about. It's not two guys standing at a bar out or not going, I love you, brother, I love you, buddy, it's Stephen Pish, none of that kind of stuff. It's an essence, it's an intention, it's a frequency, it's a feeling, it's a gift, an absolute gift. And over the last wee bit, as I've been including myself in that, I can't tell you, it's been incredible. So my reasons, my why, the one day to change your life is absolutely that. One of the things that we do is get people to hug. It's amazing watching people walking into the room and how standoffish, especially strangers, it's like they've got their whole world inside their head, and a lot of them are stressed and they don't know why they're there, and they're anxious and they're nervous and they're excited and they're not quite sure why they signed up for it 3 weeks ago. And by the end of the day, I'll say often, in fact every single time, by the end of this day we're all going to know each other on a heart level, be connected on a heart level, and my reason and my why at the ultimate level is to get people to that place, where they get out of this and we reconnect back into ourselves, back into the true self. And that's what One Day to Change Your Life is all about. We go through the work, we go through the wheel, the programme. Once you go through the programme, you learn what it's all about, you learn all the different modalities to the programme and how we can then support you. Because once you get through this, once you get fired out the cannon, the support network and the community is going to be there to help you on your journey, and that's such a significant and a huge part of this whole thing. It's not a cult. It really isn't. A lot of people say very cultish. I mean, you look at what a cult is. A cult is like everything towards the one person. You know, you look at any cult, and there's like everybody has this like worship, and everything's geared towards the one being. And this is the opposite of that. You know, I'm all about self-reliance. You know, I don't want that. None of us want that. It's all about getting it for yourself. I teach absolute self-reliance so you can get it for yourself. You know, the whole thing is to then, you know, go away, and if it gets you the way that it gets many people, the way that it's got me for the last 28 years, then when it lights something up inside you, then you get to go away, you know, and then work out for yourself. Your life experience is going to be a teacher, but the program, the tools, the techniques, you know, all the videos, all the meditations, all the breath works, the community, the support community, the apprenticeship program where people are mentoring. So anybody that comes into the program now, they're mentored, you know, so that we can see how people are doing and support them on their journey. Because once you start to get through this, once you open up, that's the easy bit. And there's like a disclaimer, absolutely, you know, once you come in and you lie down with an open heart and an open mind, and you go inside yourself, of course there's going to be stuff that comes up and needs to get dealt with. You know, so at that point, you know, the question becomes like, you know, how do we do that? And that's where I think this is very different as well, because a lot of people, especially the breath workers, a lot of breath workers don't know what they're doing. They'll take you through the process, whether it's Wim Hof method, whether it's any type of breath work session, yogic breathing, doesn't matter what it is. They'll take you through the process, especially the ones that are doing a bit of power breathing, where you're generating stress, or intentionally generating stress to see the DMT and the lights and all that kind of circus stuff. But once you go inside, once you switch this off and you get back into yourself, back into your heart, once the music stops, once you're in the silence and go back inside you, the unconscious mind remembers every single thing that's ever happened, your feelings and your emotions. When you start to look inside, the stuff that comes up, you know, then at that point there's a huge responsibility of whoever it is facilitating and taking people through that. That's something I've had massive challenges with my whole life, you know, especially with the breath work. Especially with the Wim Hof stuff, you know, just lie down and give 4 rounds of power breathing, bang, and then you're in your heart, trauma's coming up. I saw it when I was over in Poland, training with Wim back in 2017. The amount of stuff that was coming up for people, and nobody was there to help them. Nobody was there to go, right, okay, this stuff has now come up. How do we get you to the other side? And again, that's what this programme's about. It's freedom we're trying to get to. So every single thing that you're dealing with, every single thing, that's ever happened to you, all the hardships, all the horrors, the heartbreak, the heartache, you know, and the realisation of how that impacts on people's lives. The one-step programme that's going to be coming out the month after next about addiction and how we transcend addiction. The amount of addiction, the amount of challenges that people face because they haven't dealt with that stuff, because it's been suppressed. A lot of them don't even know it. That's why they're in addiction. You know, so we need to get it up, absolutely. That's the intention, that's the intentional breath. To go inside, the plan is to get it up. Because once we get it up and we get it out, then through the work, through the meditations, through the healing processes, by reconnecting back to the true self, which enables you to reconnect back to the divine. This is why meditation's like everything I'm doing. There's all the different things. There's the breath work and the cold exposure and the awareness and intention and, you know, like living with the intentional life. It's all that. But to get to that place of freedom, every single thing needs to be resolved. Every single thing needs to be got beyond and transcend to the places available to every single one of us. You know, and that's why the 1 day to change your life, that's just a starter for 10. Once the life changes, once you've been fired out that cannon, once you're standing on the other side, at that point you've got choices to make. You know, because to get to the place that's available to all of us, it takes work. And that's where the programme and that's where the community is there to support people on the other side of that. So you're not alone. So we get it up, we get it out, but then there's a stepping stone process to get to the other side and out the other end, so you don't need anybody. That place of self-reliance. And watching people, as I saw in here 2 Sundays ago, one of the young lads, for probably the last year or so, any time he's been on about this, he would just go into like uncontrollable, like bawling with tears. I've seen it happen dozens of times now. And he came back up here last week and for a one-on-one, we're having a wee chat, and I was like, what is that? You know, what's the... And he faced massive challenges when he was younger, parents, all that kind of stuff. But what is that? You know, is it trauma that's coming up? Is it, you know, what is it? What's the reasons when you go to speak or tell your story that you can't stop greeting? And it's bawling with tears and they literally can't stop. And he says what it is, he says, being in that room with 18 people in that room a couple of Sundays ago, he says, being in that level of love, like being in the presence of that amount of people that are connected into themselves and connected to that field of love and projecting into me when I'm going to speak. I can't handle it. It's too much. It's overwhelming. And straight away I'm thinking of Hawkins, how, the nervous system, human beings can only handle so much, and especially low levels of consciousness. When you bring unconditional love, into that level of somebody that's never ever had that before, literally never experienced that from anybody, and you're sitting with 17 strangers and they're basically pouring love into you, then the only way that can be expressed is through bawling with tears and being unable to speak. Now that's absolutely beautiful. The tears that are coming through are tears of joy, tears of relief, tears of healing, of course they are. And every single time that I see him, and he's working closely within the programme now, just an incredible soul. But watching his progress over the last few years, and now he's really starting to open up, and now he's going to get every single thing that he's trying to get to, all the healing, all the, the bit that I'm talking about, the self-reliance, the transcendence, to the place where you see and you look back that every single bit that ever had to happen, it had to happen. Of course it did. Nothing in vain. I say that all the time. There is nothing in vain. You had to go through every single step, because eventually you get to that place where you're standing on the other side and you look back and you go, what, that had to happen. I understand that why. I understand now why that had to happen, why whatever happened to me, why they did this to me, why they did that to me, why I didn't get it then, why I was broken, because you get to go through it with this work and get out the other side of it, and that's what it's all about. So we get it up, we get it out, and then it's all about transcendence, so it's one day to uplift your life. It really is, and that's a fact. One day to change your life. That's a literal fact. I defy anybody to come in and go through this process and not leave with every single spoke, every single area of their life to be better in ways that are unachievable through hard work and effort and motivation. It would take you too many lifetimes, and this is going to happen in one day. And then once you understand how it goes together, once you're standing on the other side, in that place of awareness, this is all about awareness, a massive shift in consciousness, where you get to the point where you become aware and awake as to what you're doing to yourself, what you're allowing them to do to you, how that goes together. It's all about feeling good. How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel good? Does it make you feel bad? It's so simple, yet it's so profound. It's so valuable, I can't even tell you. Because once you understand how it goes together, you've got choices to make as to who you're spending time with, where you're spending your time, what you're thinking about, and the realisation through your own direct experience, the impact, whether it's positive or negative, that's having on your life every single day. And what you find is, once you get into the programme, your own programme, it isn't my programme, there's different tools and techniques and modalities that basically enable us to manage the stress and the nervous system and sleep properly, and things like awareness is to see what you're doing to yourself. But once you get on about it, you get to a place where, your programme is the stuff that makes you happy. It's the stuff that puts a smile on your face. People ask me all the time, what do you do? And I'm like, I walk the dog, I play golf, I get my bike. That's the stuff that makes me happy. Meditation, I can't get any happier when I'm sitting in meditation. I woke up this morning, I thought I'd get at least 4 hours here. 10 o'clock check out this morning. I've got at least 4 hours before I need to move. I've got space to see what comes through. That's when I'm at my happiest, when I'm in that field of the divine. Now, everybody's different. For somebody it might be going to the football, for somebody it might be playing football, for somebody it might be going to badminton. It depends on where you are in your life. But your programme, based on what puts a smile on your face, what makes you happy, that's what it's all about. But the tools and the techniques and the modalities, and I suppose the system behind that, the programme behind that, as I call it, that's what it's all about, to learn that and then you take it into your life. And absolutely, one day to change your life is a fact, to uplift every single thing that you're all about. And from that point, the choice to move forward, to keep going, because there's no end. Constant and never-ending expansion. Who did that come from? That might have been Tony Robbins. Constant, never-ending expansion. He talked about that all the time. To keep going. Nature is expanding. The universe is always expanding. Human beings are either growing or we're dying. It's dead simple. Anytime you stop, you become stale. You need to be growing, or you're dying. There's no choice. That's it. So constant expansion, which is where I'm at just now. I'm loving the expansion I'm going through just now. I'm loving the new lessons and some of the stuff I'm picking up for some of these books I've not read for years. Some of my teachers going through Hawkins stuff just now and watching these videos and just like devotion to the way. Devotion to the way to try and learn it for myself so I can pass on to other people and get it for myself at the same time, obviously. Why? Because it makes me feel good. It's all about feeling good. That's what this is all about. How good can you feel? What's the best that I can feel? How can I feel even better than this? That's a great question. I used to ask myself that all the time, and I've started asking it again. What can I now do to make myself feel even better? Because once you get into that flow state, which again, this is what this is all about, being in the flow state, No wait until the world puts you in that flow state by the things that need to happen every single day to allow that to take place. No, we go to the flow state first. We get into spirit and be inspired first. Dead simple when you understand how it goes together. And at that point, you take that into the world. And then you start to, when the inspiration comes through, things will start to show up. And when things show up, when you have the awareness to see how it goes together and the intention to continuously expand and follow that vibrational trail, as Abraham would say, watch what happens to your life. It's incredible and it's truly profound, and I'm very excited to share it with those who are coming on March the 1st. There's still tickets left, absolutely. I'm not sure how many's left, but there are still tickets left. And it's a fascinating journey. It's a fascinating process for me. I'm learning every single day. My desire has never changed to help as many people as I can every single day. I get it for myself first, as I'm really doing just now, and then the intention is to pay it forward to help as many people every single day, dead simple. And over the last year, because of the people that run about it, because of the programme, because it's now on the digital, whether it's the programme Light, the 5 recordings of the relaxation and the meditations, there's so many different ways that people have been drawn towards this work now. And as I say all the time, it's only goodness. There's no hidden agenda. Even the prices that we're charging you, we're literally giving it away. The programme itself is £1 a day. And that £1 is just to wake up and go, you know what, I'm getting that fucker £1 a day. I'm going to do the work. That's where the £1 a day came from. You couldn't put a value on it. The value of this programme and what it does for people, invaluable. So £1 a day is to make you accountable, take it up and invest in yourself every single day. And the one day to change your life is a huge part of it. It's the next step. It's probably the bridge towards being on the programme and committing to a full-time way of living. And if you want to get to that place of absolute fulfilment, it's a way of doing it. There's no question about it. You come in, experience it, one day the Friday nights in, the Breathe and Believes, the experience live online, the experience live, we did it in New Lanark. The next step is to see how it goes together. And then if you're up for it, to learn the tools, the techniques, the practices, and then from there it's on to the programme. And the programme, the people run about it, the community, only goodness. There is only goodness within that group. And it's fascinating watching who it's attracting. Only goodness is showing up. And the ones that come in that are not ready for it, it's a timing thing. Can I sell this? And I refuse to try and sell this. I'm not selling it. There's no hard sell here. It's an opportunity to buy. It's an opportunity if you're ready to come in and take full responsibility for your life. Because it takes work. I'm not going to do it for you. Nobody's going to do it for you. The first question we'll ask with the monthly checkups is, are you doing the work? Then what work are you doing? Are you doing the meditations every day? Are you doing the breath work every day? In the cold? How often you're in the cold? What's your diet like? Where are you spending your time? How are you eating? What are you thinking about? What are you watching on the telly? Everything matters. If you would like to reach that place of self-mastery, mastery of the self, the true self, the authentic self, then every single thing matters. And at that point, the way that we're doing it, the way, as I keep saying, the natural path, in alignment with Mother Nature, with the divine, the ancient tools, the ancient techniques, things like yoga, qigong, breath work, relaxation, meditation. It's so simple, and it isn't work. It pulls you back every single day, and it feels that good that it should pull you back. If it feels like hard work or effort, you're on the wrong page. That's not what it's about. Inspiration should feel easy. That's motivation. Go and listen to Tony Robbins or jump into some property tycoon guru's page and see what they're doing. They'll motivate the life out of you. It's too hard. Hard work and effort, it doesn't work. That's a time for inspiration, to be in spirit and to be inspired. And that's what one day to change your life is all about, to inspire you enough with these modalities that your life is never the same ever again. And for that point, the choices you make when you get to the end of it, when you're standing before God and she asks you how you did, very simple. I did my best. That's what it's all about, doing your best. Love and light. Have a great day. Peace out. Great as always. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. And on and up. In and out. Bye for now. God bless. Take it easy.